comfortably zoned with the Zigzag Man in Alameda, California, pushing on the doors of life marked pull and fighting the unholy trinity as we go. Big business, organized religion, and government.
I am back, and you are flying high with me, the Zigzag Man, over the zone in Alameda, California, right across the bay from San Francisco in the northern part of the great state that is where I've made my home for a long time, and I'm loving it. As you know, I'm all baseball these days. It's the playoffs, and not that I'm not all baseball most of the time, but I'm blessed to have as a guest the newest member of the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network team, and we are a team. His name is Patrick Quinlan, and welcome back for the third time to these airwaves, and the first time where you're actually a member of our organization, if you will. Nice talking to you, sir.
Thank you so much for having me, sir. I'm honored to be part of your world, Ralph.
Oh, well, my world is about fun, and if it ain't fun, it shouldn't be getting done. And I've picked the candy store of life, sports, baseball in particular, to relieve me from the common day-to-day stuff that goes on in people's heads because of the way things are politically and socially and economically and racially and all that stuff. Sports is good in one sense. In another sense, you get a lot of the real world. It's a microcosm of life, and that's what keeps it interesting, but at least there are the games. And before we get too heavy, let's talk about your San Francisco Giants a little bit and my New York Mets. End of the season, we'll just say that we're both lucky that we had teams that made it to the playoffs. Let's start with that.
Yeah, we did. Didn't we, Ralph?
Yeah.
I mean, how you guys got there was an unbelievable journey because you had all those starters hurt. And
and how you guys didn't get further was an unbelievable demise because of your the start that they had. The first half, they were the best team in baseball, and after that, it kind of went downhill. I was shocked by last night. We're talking on a Wednesday. It's the date is 10/12/2016, and Giants lost one of the all-time heartbreakers of their history, and I go back a long way with this team. They were the New York Giants when I was a kid, worshiping them at the Polo Grounds, and this one really hurt. Now I know how the Dodgers felt in '51 with Bobby Thompson. Wow, this one. As they say, this one will leave a mark on the psyche of any Giants worshiper or apologist. Wouldn't you say? I'll bet you would.
Oh, easily. That's so well stated. Because it's crushing. Like right now, I'm watching the replay again because I just have to. I have to watch it again because I'm sitting there going, what could have been and. How close? I mean, one hit ball. Zobrist, the silly, well, not silly, but all the shifts and the relievers. It was just brutal. Broken bat, base hits, 2 of them. I really thought, I'm high on Law. I'm going. You got a 3-1. You got 3-run lead, and just to see in 5 minutes your whole year, because it starts right after you're mathematically out from the previous year. So last year we don't win. The process starts, okay, everybody's excited. You got winter deals, trades, spring training. You know, your core guys, you know, you want to be healthy, the Posies and the Belts and the Panics and the Crawfords and the Pences, you know, Span now, some of the new guys. You get out of the gate with the, you know, 6-7 games a week from opening day into the second half, the dog days. You survive that. You hang around. You win 5 out of 6 on the homestand. You couldn't lose. They didn't lose. They all come together. Then Nunez goes down. Crawford, you know, they're treating his elbow all during the game today. They just released that this morning.
We talked about him a little bit. That was a big surprise to me that there even was an elbow issue. And how well the Giants hit it. They didn't want teams taking advantage. You could appreciate that for a number of reasons.
And he doesn't. So for him to throw that wildly on routine stuff that he does in his sleep, you know, the players don't make excuses. And then you witness that high, especially the Matt Moore outing. I mean, he was just dealing. And I knew going in, I go, man, he's been throwing great. You know, you're always optimistic because it's your team and you're down 2-1.
Right.
And then they take the 5-2 lead and everybody contributed, everybody up and down, great defense, all this. And in 5 minutes, you're just sitting there going, okay, what do you do with your rest of your night? You're angry, you walk around, you take a walk, you put on some comedy.
Right.
You're so exhausted, you go to sleep. You sleep terribly. You wake up. You got to read your game stories because I love my morning chronicle. I got to read all the poops. Got to listen to the radio because you have to because you love it so much. And then you move on and you just nothing you can do and you go. Like I posted with friends on Facebook. I go 3-7, guys. That's all I'm telling you. I never thought I would win one. We were so buried and so close so many times in my life. I'm going, okay, Niners with 5, Warriors with a couple. You know, the Raiders success because I followed them as a kid too. The A's 4 rings. Okay, all right. Then all of a sudden, you know, Sabian and his Yankee and his baseball knowledge and the Posey and then 3 and 6 and then hopefully, you know, you start getting like Yankee-like. You get a little greedy, but you just love to win because it feels so good. Because it's such a
okay.
good part.
I want a quick synopsis of who you think is the most valuable position player on the Giants this year and why. Just give me a little bit of just off the top of your head.
Well, Posey he is such a warrior. He is so solid and so strong that so many people don't know about him. I mean, from when you meet him as a teammate, you know, it starts from the scouts to front office personnel to everybody that works there that he engages with coming to the yard, that he's such a great person and he harnesses all his energies, and he is so focused and locked in about being a pro's pro, old school, all that stuff. And to lead like he does every day, there's no negativity. He's our Jeter. His Jeter was first, but he's our Derek Jeter, and that's all you needed to know there. And Mariano was great, Posada, Bernie, all those guys, Pettit, Timo, I mean, all they're great players, but, you know, the captain is Jeter. And ours is, and will ever be, Posey. And that's why they signed him to a $1 million, year contract. And that he is so solid that he just rides it. He just rides the ship. We had a terrible second half. 57-33 first half, and we just go 20-42. It was just brutal. But he knows how much failure's in the sport. He knows
right.
You can't explain it. You just go, okay, well, we battled today. Let's go get them tomorrow. And then you stay with that belief, because that's what great leaders are. Just like a great parent, a great boss,
Mm-hmm.
great wherever, a great person wherever you go. Cabbie, the bank, a post office. Everybody leads by being a great person. That's what a great leader to me is. So here's Posey, and we almost got there. I mean, it would have been Thursday night would have been awesome. It would have been so great to go Cueto and Lester, and when it was just.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But it just rides.
Cueto is a terrific athlete. I watched him a lot this year for one reason or another.
Oh, man.
Every game I went to, or every game I watched on TV, this, that, and the other thing, he's just a cat off the mound, a tremendous fielder. That makes a big difference. And, he's an athlete. And he works fast, and he keeps the team on its toes. And I like him a lot. He's got a lot of Tito in him. A lot of hot dog, which is
exactly
refreshing.
Tito Puentes, exactly. And it's a vibrant, happy energy because
right.
he loves it so much. And that's Posey's quieter, but everybody knows he loves it so much because. How he's like Thurman Munson. His commitment to the craft as
right.
a great person, like his conviction to the ball player code in baseball. It's really strict. It's so hard. It's so long. There's so many games, and it's every day. It's a meticulous way of going about things. Yeah, I don't know what he drinks and eats in the clubhouse. He's healthy because they got gourmet everything now. But I bet you everything about his space and about how he goes about his day from start to finish, I bet it's really in order. I bet you he is a tidy, locked-in, special human. And I know when we drafted him, I read as much as I could on him and talked to scout friends, and they're going, if you got him at 5,
right.
you're going to really be in for some great future with him. And I told friends after we drafted him, we're going to get a World Series 1 with him, at least in the first 5 years. 1. Because, we're the Giants. We haven't won one since 54.
Hey, let me ask you this. So much, at the end of the season, they're looking for what they're looking forward to for next year. I'm reading Bochy's kind of on the hot seat a little bit. He's taken a lot of heat of late. Do you see that? Do you see his job in jeopardy? Will they ask him to move on down the road? There's a new regime with Bobby Evans. Is that a possibility?
No, he's just so solid. He's 60.
Okay.
And he's such a player's guy. He's like, it was great hearing Flannery the other day. That was great stuff because he's bringing the inside stuff, and nobody knows that more than players, coaches, managers, Batboys, trainers. I mean, all the inside dope. So here he's talking about Madden versus Bochy, and he goes, Bochy isn't a guy to print T-shirts, 1 for all for one, and all the hyper positive stuff. Madden believes in that. Madden goes, today's game 163. Bochy doesn't go preaching like that. He's calm of the shift and calm of the ship and the commander and the leader, where he knows because he was a catcher and his nature. This is how we know it's a long year, and he knows how important it is to support his guys because he's such a player's guy. And he's a guy that always is out massaging the guys. He's always around. And he's not rah guy, but he see a guy around the corner and other guys are, in the middle room or whatever. He goes, hey, how you doing? And doing all that draw. You'll be all right. And, I believe in you. All that Bochy stuff, because there's nobody I know in baseball history with his style and his way of motivating and managing players. He manages his players, and you know what I mean? He manages.
No, absolutely. He's got something that inspires players to just play balls out for him. That's the only thing I can say. He has a presence, and very few. Dusty has that presence too.
Exactly.
Dusty's a player manager, and I'm kind of rooting for him to go all the way now that
Same here.
My two teams are out of it, because he's one of those special guys that baseball produces not all that often, where he can be in management yet be for the players and be with the players, and he's a mensch. That's the best way of putting Dusty Baker and Bochy, and Tim Flannery too. Wow, Flannery's had a tremendous ride in baseball, as a player, as a coach, as almost an icon in San Diego. We forget how much he meant to those San Diego teams in the 70s.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Surfer Boy and all that stuff, but Bochy just he just stays calm. He doesn't go. It's so easy with social media today, but he knows the game, so he knows how to stay. He knows his behavior every second he gets to the yard, because he loves his off time. He loves to have a nice little scotch. He loves his off time. But when he gets there, he understands all the excess. I mean, there's teams, Ralph, that certain outlets have literally put their phones on to try to hear through the door of the manager's office in some markets. Swear to God. I mean, some crazy stupid stuff. And you'll never hear that. He'll never go hard on his guys like these other managers will. And like, he's so respected by his guys that he knows how hard it is. The game is the hardest sport on the planet. It's so hard that on both sides, defensively and offensively, you're superior at 30% success. Nothing makes sense.
Oh yeah, you're a Hall of Famer failing 7 out of 10 times.
You're terrible.
That takes its toll on one's psyche, all that failure just to be successful. Sometimes you see it in a player, that the relief in a player when he gets a hit after being 0 for 14, and he'll just
exactly
up and he'll clap hands in a certain way, like he didn't really know if it'll ever happen again, if he'll ever reach base again. He knew it, but he didn't know it. If you know, he had to think, well, I've had all these years of experience. It's a numbers game. It's this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, but when you're 0 for 11, and that's what separates being 0 for 17 for going the next 3 for 5. How quickly they can turn those mini slumps around. It's a great game. Let me ask you this, because I'm curious about how other people are adapting. I won't call you an old geese, but certainly me. I'm a traditionalist.
Oh, come on now.
That's better than old geese. But how are you adapting to the new stats? Which ones do you take into your mindset when you're that you look at? Is it WAR? With me, it's on base percentage plus slugging, and I think that's a great stat, both for pitching, against pitching, and for pitching, if you know what I mean. What's your favorite new stat?
Well, you know what? They all don't lie. Number one, flat out. They all don't lie. War, ops. No, I like to see guys get on base. I like guys knowing the game as a player. Like Chase Utley is one of my dear friends, and he everything to get on base. My job is get on base. I get a good pitch, I'm going to drive it. So anything to get on base, like Billy Bean, that whole Moneyball thing,
right.
and then the access that they get of spray charts, which I think is one of the greatest tools in the sport. And, I've done, scouting in high schools, and, I understand all that stuff from when I was the Batboy gig and all that stuff. It's like, it's amazing. As I was watching the game throughout the years, I can go to a game and watch the Giants on TV, and one of the guys panic, or it was Duffy or Buster, and they hit a seed. You don't know where it's going at first. You're just going, it's either going to left, center, or right, when you see it on TV. And you go, God, he smoked it, and it's right to him. Like, how many times that happens? Well, it happens all the time. Because
incredible positioning these days.
Oh, it's so frustrating, but it's all true because they're able to, okay, this guy, this is what he does, especially with the access that they get on all the technology that offers all the sabermetrics. MLB stats,
would you
fan
think
graph.
A good player could turn it around, like if they're positioned in a certain way, you could move your hips in a certain way. Like in tennis, you want to go down both lines. You have a certain amount of. There are these guys with bat control. You would think they change up more on the shift. You don't see that happening.
You know what? It just shows you how hard it is. Like, look how many times Brandon Bell goes the other way when the third baseman's at shortstop. Or to Chris Bryant, the shifts last night were brutal. There's the Giants here, and this is in the ninth inning. This is for everything. This is to advance to Game 5 and then maybe get another chance to go into championship series and go on World Series. And all those guys that hit the ball through, they're all playing to the tendencies of the hitter because they all got the book. The scouting reports are so advanced. Bochy gets a book before every series, and then he discusses with his coaches and the pitchers and catchers, and then Wotus is Mr. Defensive Guru guy, position all these guys, and it's amazing how even at that level, that guys like Ted Williams and McCovey and all those guys, over the years, I mean, it's going back to the history of baseball. That they go, McCovey can never really, no, it's because it's not his style. He's a power guy. He's a power hitter. He pulls everything. It's what it is.
Ted Williams, the same thing. Ted Williams never gave into the shift.
He never gave into it. And it's like, I'm going to hit the hard, and I'm going to hit a three. It's like, he doesn't even think of that, like a great golfer. Okay, you got OB on the left, you got Water on the right, whatever. Nothing plays into it except the target ahead. And it's like, this is where I know my strengths. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to put a fade on or whatever kind of golf shot they want to implement there because they're so confident in their abilities. And that's why sports is so great. There's no other sport like it. There's no other sport that has all that defensive wizardry and positioning with their access to everything is because this guy can't hit that fastball over there. He can't.
Well, I don't remember.
And if he does,
Ted Williams or Roger Hornsby, somebody said the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a round ball with a round bat and ask you to square it up.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's
it's
why
a wonderful
so
sport. It's a wonderful sport. Nothing to replace that day-to-day drama. With every day, it's almost a serial. It's a soap opera. It's you get up, you read the box scores, all of it. And winner for that reason is a drudge. I don't know if you follow the Arizona League at all. And
I do. I want to go down there someday.
Well, I'd
that's
like you.
Elite. That's invitation only.
I would. It's a terrific league. Dusty got to start managing down there, and I'd like to make that a regular part of the Giant show that we're doing, and it could get us through the winter because it's going to be a long one. Let's put it that way.
October, November, December, January, February. 5 long, grueling months because it's what it is when you go home early.
Because it's what it is. I like the others. I like basketball. I like baseball. I like I like basketball, football. I even like hockey. I was a big hockey fan as a kid.
Oh, gotcha. Rangers?
I was a Ranger fan as a kid growing up in New York.
Gotcha.
Many years ago. And, as I say, a New York Giant fan. So I have roots back there. We Tim and I talk about Polo Grounds days. I did an homage to the Polo Grounds, kind of a pilgrimage, if you will. Went back there, went back to New York and spent a week or so back there. And one of the things I did was visit what they call Brush Stairway on Edgecombe Avenue in Harlem, which was a stairway that led down to the old Polo Grounds where it used to be. They restored the stairway. They restored the stairway about 7 or 8 years ago. They put a beautiful plaque up there, and we walked around the area. There's another plaque where home plate was. We took pictures of that. It's now a housing development of public housing, and we had the pleasure of breathing some hollowed air, standing right where home plate was when I was a kid. I can't tell you how much the Giants meant to me, and every kid in New York had a team. You were a Giant fan, a Yankee fan, a Dodger fan. It meant so much.
Oh.
And they're leaving when I was 10 or 11 to go to San Francisco makes my life incredibly a mixed bag of nuts, because I became a Mets fan and lived most of my adult life in California, rooting for the Mets back there at a time, and enjoying the Giants too, and being an apologist for the Giants all these years. It's pretty wacko, this baseball life. But would you trade it? Even with the winters, no, because we have next spring to look forward to, and that's the biggie. On our shows, we'll be talking about what's coming up, what the Giants can do to improve. And I just wanted to use this vehicle, my own show, to introduce you to the RDI at Comfortably Zoned Radio Network.
You're awesome. Thank you, buddy.
Well, I wouldn't. I think that's a little overstated. The more you get to know me, you'll know that awesome is. But nevertheless, ego trumps modesty sometime. I'm not all that bad. I will say that. But I do want, because on the second segment of this interview, of the second part of this segment of this episode, I have Tony D'Angelo, who is my godfather and a podcaster on YouTube back east in Connecticut. He has a Connecticut show much like mine out here, and we did the interview a few days ago. He just rants. It's one of those beautifully about the state of baseball, what's going on, shaking his head, and giving me all the inside stuff as to why I feel the way I do, verifying it in so many ways. And what's your big rant? What would it be? In other words, what would you say is the thing that really sticks in your craw over the state of the game? That's the best way I can put it.
Instant replay.
Okay.
The replay, not instant replay. The how it's just the system because the games are so vital. Like when it goes in your favor, for the Mets, goes in your favor, the Giants, you're loving life. When it goes against you, you're hating life. But they need to fix that, and I don't know what it is about. No, I do know the numbers because I have umpire friends because I took care of them in my career, and they're all so good. They really they're really on it. You know, the missed calls are really a small number. Balls, strikes, plays, home plate, third, second, first, outfield, infield. I mean, there's a lot. But it's like you don't even know. All we know is that they're out of New York. You don't even know who they are. And the systems where they have the command center is you're going off. You're not at the game, which I always thought that they should do is have a command center at each ballpark, just like what Sean Dunston does for the Giants. He's back there. He's got his own command center. He's got 4 screens there
for the instant replays.
Right, for the instant replays. So you have that in the home ballpark. This whole out of New York is MLB's headquarters, and you guys have to get better. I don't know. You know, I mean, the screens are unbelievable today. I mean, I love my high definition Sony. I love it. That's the only way to watch baseball. I just can't believe how great high def is. Well, you got all this technology now. That really slows the game down, and that hurts both teams because especially the defenders. So they got to get better. That's just. I'll watch games. I go, God, and I'm yelling at the screen. You guys are taking like 10 minutes, and knowing being inside and knowing the players hate that. Players hate it.
Fans hate it. Broadcasters hate it. It breaks up the rhythm of the game when you listen. I'm a listener rather than a watcher. I've always got the game on, and I listen for the sound of the crowd, the tone of the announcer, and it breaks up a rhythm that, that's a double play, and that retires the side. Wait a minute, we got the guy with his headphones on, this, that, and the other thing.
So they gotta get better at.
They gotta get faster.
It really has to be efficient because the game's slow enough as it is, and that's the beauty of that. That's the beauty of that. Now you're taking away that for
you know what
replay,
they should do?
which is never around
say if you can't find a definitive yes or no, something to change the call definitively in 15 seconds, forget it. And don't
I don't understand why it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Right. If you're going to change it, if the rule is it's got to be a definitive mistake, where it's, it's obvious, if it's that close that you have to look at it, let it go. It's a human thing.
We can go to a Giants game next year, Ralph. We can go to a game and we're at the game, and they show the replay on the jumbotron, and everybody in the yard cheers when it's a save for us or an out for the opponent. Out against the Dodgers. We're cheering at the yard, and we're hundreds of feet away from jumbotron. We're looking at this big screen. So that really, they have to really, and sometimes it just frustrates me, who the hire is there, who are those people? Because how many times can we watch that replay from 3 cameras, 4 cameras?
Right.
One, then increase cameras on the telecast, and I always had my ideas about how baseball, to be a director of baseball, a lot of times, the camera angles are like, how come there's another camera for that? So that's an absolute dare to guarantee that call more quickly, more rapidly. But how many times you'll sit there and I get up because my boys, I'm so intense about it, and I'll get up there and I go, "There's no way he's safe. There's no way. There's no way." And then after further review, they call him out, and I go, "You took like 6 minutes." And if that's Crawford and Hunter and those guys, and they're waiting, that's a disservice to them.
Right, they cool it down. Exactly. I'll tell you something else. When you play ball as a kid on the sandlots, in the just growing up, there was never an umpire, unless it was a kid with a broken arm or this, that, and the other thing. Rarely an umpire. Yet, how few times there was an argument. Kid was safe. Kid was out. They know it. You know it. You should almost
exactly.
It should almost be like in tennis, a gentleman's. It makes a joke out of a gentleman in baseball. Never been gentlemen in baseball. It's a depression game. It doesn't make sense. You can't expect it to be anything than what it was on some levels. But if you let the play, he's safe, he's out. It's a gentleman thing. You go back and forth or whatever. Or if you're going to consult the players. Consult the two players along with the umpire. They're not going to be. Most people are human. Unless you're Leo DeRocher or something, you're going to argue every call just to be a jerk, just to get the next call. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Should be a simpler way. If you, I'm just saying that off the top of my head. Bring the players into the agreement. Into the negotiation, and there'll be certain players you wouldn't want to bring in. The umpires would know that too. Certain players they know to ask. I hearken back to when Timmy's dad and Timmy's uncle, who was an umpire, found themselves in the same game.
Right, Bill Howard, yeah.
Right, umpiring each other. Didn't last long, but it happened at least once. So, but then again, you have the gentleman from the Hallow family. You're not going to find just running around the street as an everyday occurrence. Patrick,
right.
This is fun. That you're an incredible addition to the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. That's the best I can do.
You're awesome. I just appreciate you having me. I love talking ball. It's great.
All right. I'm going to end my show, and you probably never heard this before. You may have. You may have been on once or twice. This way, I'm going to implore you and my audii to keep your dreams wet, keep your humor dry, keep your kids out of military recruiting stations, and that means your grandkids too, and for all the right reasons, and off the laps of a lot of clerics that wear dresses, just to be on the safe side. It's just a good idea. You don't even have to listen to me. You just think about why did he say that?
No snorting.
Does he read the paper? Hey, you might say. And keep on keeping on. I forgot to tell you that because that's very important. Will you agree to that, Patrick?
Yes, sir.
At least agree to 3 out of 4 of those things, and that's all.
Okay, got
all
it.
I can ask.
Got it.
Pardon? All right.
Got it. That's a good day to play.
We'll catch you next time, everybody. Stay tuned. Tony D'Angelo, my godfather, is going to be on the second part of this. And like I say, keep on keeping on. Life's an up and down thing. You're not always up. You're not always down. So try to keep it level and keep it on the road and all that stuff. Adios,
Thank
Patrick.
you, brother. Thank
See you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
it's a give and take. It's a player saying, you know what, I want the long-term security, and maybe undervalue the point here and there. So that's the chance they're willing to take. It's the team saying, we think you're going to be really good. We're going to pay you. If you are as good as you think you're going to be, you're probably going to be undervalued. But if you're not, you have 7 years of security. You want to do this. The guys, I still hate this, just logically. And I like the players can do something, players guy. But man, these contracts you can 8 years and opt out after 2. And the team's just because that's the trend now. It's like gas station in the desert, baby. Got to push your luck. I know it's $7 a gallon, but here we are. Not guaranteed you're going to make it to the next town to get your gas. And as a player, you have all the leverage. And all it took was one team to do that. Like, hey, we'll give you this. Then everybody else had to, they hate.
And Mateo Bridge, your next update, 6:58 traffic to the KCBS. Nancy, 3-6-day forecast. We've got the first storm of the season coming later, not later today, but later this week. And KCIX 5 called Deanna. It's going to tell us how that's going to go down.
Rain is still slated to move into the Bay Area for the first time in seemingly a long time. It's been about half a year since we've had a good rainfall, but that's normal for the Bay Area. We have a very defined dry season, which is about to end as soon as tomorrow night. Since the front is coming in from the north, those of you listening in the North Bay will get the rain first. It'll be here by late in the evening, slowly working its way south. But as that front sags to the south, it's going to be bringing some pretty heavy rainfall with it, and you'll have about 4 to 6 hours wherever you are of some steady to heavy rainfall. That may add up to more than an inch of rainfall in the North Bay, up to an inch of rainfall around San Francisco, east to Oakland, south to Fremont and Union City, and San Jose could get up to a half of an inch of rainfall. Typically, we get that first soaking rain around Thanksgiving. This year, it'll be about 1 month earlier. We'll dry out by Friday evening. Saturday will be mainly dry, albeit breezy and cloudy. Another round of lighter rainfall moves through Saturday night, and for much of Sunday, it will be soggy. I'm meteorologist Paul Deanna, KPIX 5 and KCBS forecast. Well, we've got traffic and weather together on the 8th on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS. Jessica Yee editing this hour as our News Watch continues.
Each week, KCBS and KPIX 5 honor local winners of the Jefferson Awards for Public Service. KCBS and KPIX 5 reporter Alan Martin profiles, this week's winner.
If you've never experienced it before, you probably don't know the name.
Capoeira, right?
Capoeira is a combination of many things.
It's art form that incorporates every art possible. It's a martial art, it's acrobatics, it's dance, it's music.
And Matsia Tridla is one of the best at teaching it. So good, in fact, she's the first woman to hold the title of Master Cigara. Capoeira originated in Matsia's native Brazil. Slaves from Africa mingled with Portuguese.
All days after hours, practice music, drumming, singing, dance. So they found this amazing way to preserve the culture all over the world.
Matsia has been teaching for 35 years, the past 25 at her nonprofit studio called Abada Capoeira in San Francisco's Mission District. In order to teach more than 20,000 students each year, she also takes classes into schools all over the Bay Area.
We're all over the place. We go away to San Jose, San Carlos, go to Oakland, go Berkeley. So we have also performance groups to go to the schools and do that type of work.
We see students like Alison Flores, who is not quite 3 years old. She was introduced to Capoeira.
So my mom was there, and she said to me, let's some women. For example, I want my
20 years later, Alison is now one of Matsia's teachers. So is Elias Gonzalez. I was bold about the artist. I was willing to try something different. Both he and Alison say Matsia is more than a teacher.
I mentored a lot of the teenagers like myself that's not needed. She needed somebody to look out. And she came down not only giving capoeira, but also in everyday life.
Well, Matsia's teaching will one day come to an end. Capoeira, she says, will continue.
I love it. I'm not going to compete for that. The organization itself, and it's continuing forever.
So for her decades of teaching, sharing, and preserving the art form of capoeira, this week's Jefferson Award in the Bay Area goes to Matsia Tridla. Alan Martin, KCBS.
You can learn more about the Jefferson Awards and nominate a local unsung hero at cbsfs.com/Jefferson Award.
Travel Travel website TripAdvisor will no longer sell bookings to attractions where travelers can come in contact with captive wild animals or endangered species. The new policy takes effect early in 2017. This will apply to attractions such as elephant rides, swim with the dolphins programs, and tiger petting. There are exemptions, including children's petting zoos, aquarium touch pools, and other attractions where visitors are properly supervised.
Watch for little things today. We've got Jason Brooks on the Money Watch.
Wall Street posted a mild rebound following the big
Bro, gotta get lights on, bro. Lights.
Fed meeting indicated that a majority of members think a rate hike would be appropriate before the end of the year. The Dow gained 15 points to 18,144. Nasdaq down 7 points to 52.39. The S&P gained 2 points to 21.39. Oil fell 51 cents to $50.18. Job openings fell 7% in August.
Lights, bro.
The lowest level in 8 months. That likely means weaker hiring in the coming months, although more people are looking for work. Samsung's decision to kill the Galaxy Note 7 after its exploding battery problem will cut the South Korean firm's third-quarter profit by 1/3. A Drexel Hamilton research note, meanwhile, says Samsung's woes could help Apple sell an additional 8 million iPhones in the current fiscal year. Amazon launched a new music streaming service called Unlimited. It has 3 levels: $8 a month for Prime members, $10 for non-Prime members, and $4 for owners of Amazon's voice-activated Echo speaker. Jason Brooks, CBS News.
Hey, it's Cheryl Ray. Take it from me. Try the perfect workout today. Call 888-878-1808.
In baseball, a key to success is asking the right questions, and the same is often true of finances. This time of year is a busy one for baseball. You'd be surprised at how much strategy on and off the field goes into planning for a successful season. On today's Managing Your Wealth discussion brought to you by Charles Schwab, we sat down with Daniel Schwartz from the Charles Schwab Menlo Park branch to get his take on it. Daniel, in sports and investing, is all about the numbers. Talk a little bit about the role of stats in baseball and wealth management.
Absolutely. Baseball is a game that's just full of statistics. Stats like wins, losses, RBIs, and strikeouts help measure individual players' success and track team performance across the league. The same can be applied with finance. As you would imagine, there are a lot of statistics involved in managing your wealth. At Charles Schwab, we recommend you keep 3 key stats top of mind: your overall portfolio performance, the fees you're paying, and the probability of meeting your financial goals. All 3 are equally important, so you shouldn't anchor on just one. That's where a good financial advisor comes in. Your advisor should help to make sure you're on track and focus on keeping these stats in good balance. I speak with my clients about these stats regularly, and I'm happy to help anyone who has questions.
That was Daniel Schwartz, Vice President Financial Consultant from the Menlo Park branch. To get your financial questions answered, visit a Schwab location near you or go to schwab.com. Charles Schwab. Ask questions, be engaged, own your tomorrow. This discussion was brought to you by Charles Schwab, member SIPC. Content presented could not be considered individual advice or a recommendation for any product, service, or investment strategy. Brokerage products are not FDIC insured, have no bank guarantee, and may lose value. Welcome to Staples.
Staples guy, I need a ton of supplies for my business, but I hate spending all that money.
Well, it's a great time to stock up and save during Staples Buy More, Save More event.
Buy more, save more event.
Yep, the more you buy, the more you save on everything for your office.
Everything, like pens and folders?
Yep.
I also need paper, file folders, storage bins, notepad, hand sanitizer, bubble roll. What else do I need? The shopping bag.
You will definitely need a cut for all this stuff. The Buy More, Save More event right now at Staples. Make more happen in store only.
My Ford needs parts.
I'll put Jigsaw on. The specialist who uses Motorcraft parts, and only Motorcraft parts.
Good deal.
Actually, this is the deal. Now get a $50 rebate by mail on any Motorcraft freight service when you use the Ford Service credit card. Subject to credit approval, taxes extra, rebate by prepaid debit card, pass issues on most vehicles, 1 accident, exclusions apply. See a participating Ford dealer for rebate details through 12/31/16. When your Ford needs service, you need the specialist. CBS News Time 6:58 for first for traffic and checking back to Cheryl in your local Honda dealer traffic center.
All right, 5-1 traffic on the East Shore. This is because of a stall in Pinole. 80 eastbound past Pinole Valley Road, the left lane blocked there, basically backed up into the maze. And West 80 at Tampa Blue Dam Road is still on the right lane and slowing traffic down. New class is just coming in. I think C-Street's still headed over there, 242 northbound at Fort Chicago. They're blocking the left lane, trying to get to the shoulder. The traffic's just coming in too hot. So they're going to have to wait for the C3 to arrive to clear that lane. And Hayward, a motorcycle crash being reported 880 northbound at Whipple, all on the shoulder, but it's still very, very slow traffic out of Fremont on North 880. And something Highway 17, reports of a crash, North 17, past Highway 9. Something blocked it. It's definitely backed up in both directions and where normally it would start to turn around for you. Your next update, 7:08 on the traffic leader, KCBS. Low clouds and fog near the coast overnight for tomorrow morning. Now we're going to see increasing high clouds as the day wears on. It's bringing in a storm front close to hit, a chance of rain hitting the North Bay tomorrow evening, with all of the Bay Area seeing a lot of rain Friday morning. Heavy at times, the weaker system comes in fast.
Today's fucking Wednesday. Fuck me.
In San Francisco, the Department of Justice finds bias in the San Francisco Police Department.
The numbers, they're right in front of us, and we cannot ignore it.
Several women have come forward accusing Donald Trump of inappropriate sexual behavior.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Bell.
I'm Patty Robinson.
There's Shaloni along at 7:05. CBS News is now. What's happening? CBS News, KFRC FM and HD1. San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose.
7 o'clock.
CBS News, I'm Bill Whitney. Published reports say 3 women accused Donald Trump of inappropriate sexual behavior. All 3 say it happened years ago. 74-year-old Jessica Leeds in New York says she was around 40 when Trump groped her on an airplane. She told the Times he was so aggressive she fled to the back of the plane.
I started telling my story about a year and a half ago when it became apparent that Trump was actually running for president. And I started telling my friends.
During the debate Sunday night, when Trump denied ever kissing or groping women without their permission, Leeds says she wanted to punch the screen. Trump told the Times, quote, none of this ever happened, and angrily threatened to sue the paper if it reported the allegations. The Clinton campaign has its own problems. Correspondent Stephen Portnoy reports.
While blasting GOP leaders for wavering in their support of his candidacy, Donald Trump now strives to make hay of the emails stolen from the inbox of Hillary Clinton's campaign chair.
This WikiLeaks stuff is unbelievable. It tells you the inner heart.
Trump cited one email sent in 2011 by the woman who...
Oh my God! Johnny Jones! Let's go home!
San Francisco, KNBR 68 on Cumulus.
My number 2 does not look like a number 2. I don't know what to call it. Is there a number 3?
Table for 4, please. Anything close to the restroom.
A middle seat with these stomach problems? That's my fear offline.
Sound like you? If it does, you could be one of the many people with a digestive condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Even if you don't know what EPI is, you might know the symptoms: frequent diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain. If you have even just one of these symptoms, you could still have EPI, because not everybody experiences EPI the same way, which is why it's so important to open up to your doctor about all your symptoms. And the good news is, EPI is manageable, so don't keep a lid on it. Go to identifyepi.com, complete the symptom checker, and use it to have a conversation with your doctor. Don't keep a lid on it. Visit identifyepi.com. Brought to you by AbbVie.
If you are a taxpayer facing past due tax liabilities, unfiled tax returns, or an IRS or state tax audit, then now is the time to act. New laws have just been passed that allow for extremely aggressive collection action, including the IRS possibly seizing your passport because you owe back taxes. I'm tax attorney Robert Goldstein, and my firm specializes in helping individuals and businesses resolve their IRS and state tax problems. We represent taxpayers in need of offering compromise settlements, payment plans, preparation of past due returns, even if you have no records, audit representation, offshore amnesty disclosure, or bankruptcy. We offer knowledgeable, aggressive, and personable representation. The law offices of Robert Goldstein are a local law firm with offices throughout the Bay Area, and we always offer a free consultation. Take the first step toward putting your tax problems behind you by giving us a call, toll-free, 1-888-TAX-EXIT. That's 888-TAX-EXIT, 888-TAX-EXIT, and make us your last stop.
Hey everybody, Kate Scott here, and after a couple of weeks of traveling for my other jobs, I am so thankful to be back home with my pillow, because every other pillow, this isn't my pillow. Only My pillows never go flat. Only My Pillows stay cool all night. Only My Pillows have personalized lock levels, so there is a perfect My Pillow for everyone. And you're welcome to the double entendre. And the best part of all is talk about My Pillows. There's 2 for 1 right now. That's right, you can get 2 premium My Pillows for the price of 1. MyPillows.com. Figure out your perfect lock level, and then give My Pillow a call. 800-299-6863. That's 800-299-6863. And don't forget to mention the discount code KNBR. Or you can enter their website, mypillow.com. Click on
Well, see, back when she was married to Nick Cannon. Yeah, that's info. Speaking of Cannon, you got some. Triple D. Great work by you earlier. Let's not fire all the bullets, Guru. Please save some material for the show. We have 4 hours.
We started using ZipRecruiter about 3 months ago. Right from the start, you could tell it was going to make hiring a lot easier. One click and we're posted to 100+ job boards, all the top sites.
All of the candidates came to my dashboard. It's easy to compare them. Thumbs up if I like that. Thumbs down if I didn't. No emails and attachments. Printing up docs. Phone calls. None of that.
And I couldn't believe the number of great applicants we got. I had the person we needed within 1 week. I don't know how we hired before ZipRecruiter.
Whether you're looking to fill one position or 20, find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just 1 click away from 100+ job sites. ZipRecruiter, the fastest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/score. That's ZipRecruiter.com/score. ZipRecruiter.com/score. I'm voting for Trump.
I'm voting for Hillary. I vote for Seagram's RV.
Vote for Seagram's RV for family fun.
Seagram's RV. And how you felt last 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570, text line 95795. The Penske Auto Sales.com text line is 95795. We will be electing polls here soon. Do we have the poll music?
Real Salt Lake with 45 points. They are going to be playing Sporting Kansas City, then at Seattle. So that's what we know about the schedule. Now, here's what would need to happen to each club to reach the playoffs. To finish 5th with all 3 remaining games, Portland would earn no more than 4 points in their last 2 games.
High fastball struck without swinging. The ball game is over. A Roby Chapman is going to decide. And the Cubs, who were fearing having to go back to Chicago for Game 5 of the Giants, instead there's a dramatic 9th-inning rally. Weird feeling it is. I mean, it's been so abruptly, and especially when it just kind of from all these guys. I mean, they played so well today. Great job, Matt did for us. I like to think that they're going to hold on, and we're in Chicago, so it is a strange feeling. Yeah, that's one word that I heard last night at the stadium. One of them. Many others. Yeah, we got to see it unravel in person. The Giants season up. People were thinking we go to Chicago. About 20 minutes later, we go. Winter has. That's a tough way to end this. It's always a tough way to end it when you get to the postseason. Your hopes are high, but that's not as crushing as it gets. So Cody, I know one-time Giants fan, you're wearing the Sharks hat, so you've already turned pale on the baseball season. Moving on. Sharks off United. No. Not from Sports Social City. We're not going to give you that chance yet. We will take your phone calls at anyway. KNBR to continue the postmortem in the Giants at proper area. Most crushing loss since Game 6 of 2002. Is that what we want to go with? That's been a more
Game 7. Game 7.
In Miami, AP Snow thrown out at home plate by Jeff O'Neill. The Steve Finley Grand Slam.
Couldn't fucking break it. God damn it.
But I mean, you're at the point here where you're in Game 5 in Chicago and making the Cubs squirm in their seats along with their fans with all the history. And you're up by 3 in the 9th inning. Your bullpen implodes once again, just as you feared they would. I think this has been the thing I've been debating with the fan array is I think it evacuated this absolutely one of the more crushing losses of
we've seen from the Giants. And you also heard, in a way, I'm assuming that it ended the way you gave the ball the whole thing's allowed. It was the perfect game as well. Perfect as far as you want to sum up the season. Look at the ninth inning. That's good, right? So, you go back to game 6, 2012, more question, because you're that far along. You got the World Series, you got the 50-inning draft, 5 babies in the 7th, and you get the win. And, I heard Mike Tyko say this, it was the same feeling last night for watching it, right? And the first down, they couldn't do it. You got everybody rolled out there. And that's something that's frustrating. That you go by the book, right? The pitcher's at 120. You've got a 3-run lead. I'm guessing just about every manager makes that move. That's what the book says, right? So, you can crush those Bushi for being dumb in the situation. You'd be wrong, not dumb. Going by the book here, he wasn't thinking outside the box, and the box says, make this move. One of your guys can get it out. I guess in retrospect, the only thing if you're going to go to the bullpen in the ninth inning, maybe you start out with Will Smith because you can play the writing matchup with him a little bit better. But beyond that, I saw where Moore was at 120 pitches and had a pretty good idea of what Bochy was going to do. And I guess they didn't even get more of the option. He came in. He did it done. I don't know if it would have mattered. Could have blocked at that point. Here's a guy who just came in a couple of months ago, new team, handled all the pressure now with 3 great starts down the stretch. By the way, the last 3 were really gems, especially last night against that Cubs lineup. Man, was he good. He was rolling. And the thing you got to recognize with him is he's a momentum guy. He's one of those guys, and Bumgarner is this way as well. You get him early and he gets in some trouble. Once he gets rolling, and I think the Pence forced play at second base with Crawford, where Crawford short off the throw, or extra foul, I don't know what the 9-6 force out there, that really gave Matt Moore a boost when that inning could have gone badly. And he retired 8 more after that in a row. Struck out Dexter Fowler looking in the 8th inning. Buster Posey said he was getting better. He's getting stronger as he goes along. I think he's one of those guys that when he's rolling, you don't want to stop him. And, it's been pointed out, we pointed it out last night, 133 pitches to try to get a no-hitter. This was a little more important than a no-hitter. And we have some comments from Mike Kruko and from Tim Flannery as well on today's there. I think they were both on the morning show. Kind of bounce those on. But we'll definitely take your phone calls at 808 KMBR, and I know they're hope he's lining them up right now. Solvay is off because he was doing the Kolsky job today, and I know he's watching Sharks hockey tonight as they open up against the LA Kings. And by the way, very cool that Devin Setaguchi is back in the NHL after going through rehab and being out for a couple of years. He's got a spot with the LA Kings. But, the seasons are changing here. Sharks are starting up, Warriors in 2 weeks. Hey, we got Colin Kaepernick back at quarterback, so we got back to chew on a little bit later on. We'll talk about that, too. But first part of the show, we will devote to the Giants. Bill Lasky will be joining us at 8 o'clock. But I was telling Don and John, that's a sad feeling when you leave the ballpark the last time for a ball game. It always is. I mean, because you're kind of get hooked on it, being on the ride and seeing how far you can take it and thinking it's going to go, at least to Chicago, and thinking you might be back for another ball game or two next week in the NLCS. I thought the NLCS would probably been the best outcome for this team, given that bullpen. And we'll break it down, take your phone calls about what happened in the ninth inning last night for sure. And the Crawford 2 errors were big as well. They led to 2 runs. And hearing that apparently they were working on the right elbow last night because the way he landed in that pickoff at third base where the ball hit his left elbow, but he also hurt his right elbow. And he was in a lot of pain the other night dealing with that. And it may very well have affected some of his throws because you don't usually see that from Crawford. And, the one early in the game that skipped on the lip there, the grass and the dirt, that was very tough to handle. It's just uncharacteristic throws from Crawford. And then you had the bat Stewart run and Smith throws on the button at second base. You think it's double play easy, he might still be playing, right? So that one I know is going to hurt Crawford in the offseason a great deal. The guy certainly prides himself on playing great defense. The bullpen is a big part of it, obviously. 32 blown saves. Hey, congratulations to the Giants for getting to the postseason with that crappy bullpen. That's another way you can look at it. Yeah, everybody's shaking their head. Stop it, Rick. Just stop it. But they're the first with a bullpen that bad, more than 30 blown saves to make it to the postseason. So there's that note on the wall. I mean, as we said last night, no matter what they do in the ninth inning, even if you roll more out there and he takes you to the house, which he very well could have, and you might have beaten the Cubs Thursday in Chicago, and you might have gotten to the League Championship Series, but my feeling was, with the state of that bullpen the way it was, they were going to come back and fight you eventually, one way or the other, and maybe in an even more painful way. Let's say they face the Dodgers in the NLCS, and they get to Game 7, and they blow one that way, okay? I mean, it actually could have been more painful than last night. It doesn't make last night any less painful for those who especially watched it in person. I think everybody understood this was the elephant in the room with this team going down the stretch, and it was going to probably keep them from their goal eventually. You can't go deep into the postseason and win all those games. They had to win after the wild card game, you got to win the 4 in the League Championship Series, the 3 in this series, and the 4. You got to win 11 games after the wild card. You can't do it without a good bullpen. You can't do it with the bullpen that they had this time. And the bench. And this is where the Cubs had an edge, too, because you saw the matchup that Joe Madden was playing in the ninth inning, basically deking them into getting the matchup he wanted with Wilson Contreras up there. And Contreras is actually a pretty good hitter, lefty or righty. He put up decent numbers, very close on his splits. And he got the ground ball up the middle for the base hit. He could go Coughlin and then Contreras in that situation because they had one more guy on the bench. The Giants, in this series, at the end, were basically playing with 22 and a half because they couldn't use Pagan. They weren't using Casilla. And, of course, he was weeping in the clubhouse after the game because he saw a chance for him to make an impact here, and it passed him by. He wasn't even a thought. Coach was not going to go to Casilla in that stadium in this situation. And you had Nunez, who could barely run. Could hit, and that was it. So you were going with a 22-and-a-half-man roster. So you're almost fighting with one arm behind your back with that bullpen as well in the state it's in. So short roster was a big part of this as well for the Giants. And so as we go into talking about the offseason, yes, they need a closer. Yes, they need more pop in left field, whatever form that takes. Yes, they need a better bench. And so I think one of the things to watch next year is how far does Arroyo progress? Does he force them to make a move? Do they have assets they can trade? But they got to have a better bench. You can't have like Madison Bumgarner pinch hitting, as good as he is for the pitcher. You can't have that. So we can get into that at 808 KNBR. And the other question for you, because I saw a couple of people in national media talk about this, people who don't follow the Giants as closely. And one of the questions they were asking is now that the so-called even year stuff is over with, is the window closing for the Giants? I'm going to give you my thoughts about that coming up. We'll take your phone calls. We'll talk to Bill Lasky at 8 o'clock. Just another takeaway from the series, Javier Baez is the real deal. This year, as much as you might not have liked him pimping the basket home run in Chicago, that wasn't a great look. Obviously, he misjudged the win. Man, did that guy play second base. He's incredibly athletic, and he's got incredibly quick hands at the plate. He's an ultra-aggressive hitter. He's had to cut down his strikeout rate, which was sky high. I think he struck out less than 25% this year. I think they'll take that. If you get the power and speed combination, and on the bad Crawford throw, where does he end up? Third base, aggressive running. He put together some really good at-bats in the series as well. And in the last two games, a couple of the defensive plays he made were tremendous, including the tag-out on Stan on the throw that skipped and kicked right and kicked into Stan, and just a tremendous pick by Baez there. This guy is going to be a hell of a ball player. I think, Ray, we saw a guy go from talented young player to on the road to superstardom. This guy is the real deal. Whatever you think of his antics or the way, he kind of shows off a little bit or, likes to enjoy his home runs a little bit, he's the real deal. I think he's talented, and he knows it, and he's fun to watch him. He does. It's more fun if you're a Cubs fan, for sure. Anyway, KNBR is the number. We'll, again, give the Giants a proper burial tonight on the 2016 season and look ahead to 2017 as well. We'll do that also with Bill Lasky at 8 o'clock. As the Giants go off into the sunset, and the Cubs wait for the Nationals and Dodgers Game 5 tomorrow in D.C. So we'll come back and take a call. On these sports leader, we're very sad Wednesday night. Is everybody dealing okay? You guys dealing okay? Adam's like, yeah. Tony's like, so sharp. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Other sports leader.
Give the Cubs credit. I mean, now it's quite a comeback. We could get a ball hit at somebody. You know, the ground balls. You know, it's a tough break for these guys. It's hard to say play.
Sports Phone 680 with Ray Woodson on KNDR 680.
Get the best job, do the best education. Proposition 58 helps students like us learn new language and makes it awesome learn English. Proposition 58 is supported by parents, teachers, employers, and kids like you. Speaking more than one language will help us compete in the global economy. 但是是和listas,你的孩子们准备好了吗?
Allez enfants, on est prêts?
Are your kids ready? Please help us get ready for the jobs of tomorrow. Oh yes, on Prop 58.
As parents, we want our children to succeed. Prop 58 expands opportunities for students to learn a second language and makes sure all students learn English. There's a lot on your ballot. Remember our students. Vote yes on Prop 58. Paid for by Yes on 58, Californians for English Proficiency. Sponsored by Teachers and Service Employees Organization. Major funding by California Teachers Association Issues Tax and California State Council of Service Employees Committee.
Hello, Giant fans. Dwayne Kuiper here. Did you know that the Junior Giants is an amazing free program that serves more than 25,000 boys and girls? You can help support these deserving kids right now by donating your car. Make that call today. Just dial 800-818-5223. That's 800-818-5223. It's fast, free, and easy to donate your car to the Junior Giants. Just call 800-818-5223 today.
Welcome back. Last year, we cared for 3 million.